I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I'm reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. In my last video, I started chapter 20 of the first book of Samuel, and now we will finish it. We have here David has come to Jonathan, Saul's son, to try and understand why Saul is trying to kill him. Jonathan doesn't want to believe that his father is trying to do this, and so they set up an arrangement to prove whether Saul is trying to kill him or not, and make a covenant between them that if Saul is trying to kill him, Jonathan will help David escape, and David, in turn, will remember Jonathan's family to show kindness after God has subdued all his enemies. So we pick up this in verse 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat. And the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something hath befallen him. He is not clean, surely he is not clean. Because remember, you were not allowed to eat at these feasts if you were clean. Like if you had touched a dead body that day, you were not allowed to eat the feast. You weren't allowed to approach these feasts until sundown the next day. So he's saying, oh, he's just not here because something happened. He's just obeying the law, as the law stated. Anyways, verse 27. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meat, neither yesterday nor today? And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. And he said, Let me go, I pray thee, for our family hath a sacrifice in the city. And my brother, he hath commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favor in thine eyes, let me go away, I pray thee, and see my brethren. Therefore he cometh not unto the king's table. Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and he said unto him, Thou son of the perverse, rebellious woman, do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thine own confusion, and unto the confusion of thy mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. Wherefore now send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die. And Jonathan answered Saul his father, and said unto him, Wherefore shall he be slain? What hath he done? And Saul cast a javelin at him to smite him, whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay David. So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger, and had eaten no meat the second day of the month, for he was grieved for David, because his father had done him shame. So this is the sign, if you'll recall, that David and Jonathan set up. David's not there, so they ask, why isn't he here? Saul gets angry, and he doesn't even hide. He says, you let him go. I was going to kill him so that you can be king. He's justifying himself, saying, you should have been on my side because this is the only way you can be king. And Jonathan's like, wait a minute, what did he do? What is his crime? And in response, Saul tries to kill Jonathan. He takes out his javelin and tries to kill Jonathan, and Jonathan leaves angry. So, here we go. Nathaniel! Quiet. So here we go, verse 35. And it came to pass in the morning that Jonathan went out into the field at the time appointed with David, and a little lad with him. And he said unto his lad, Run, find out now the arrows which I shoot. And as the lad ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. And when the lad was come to the place of the arrow which Jonathan had shot, Jonathan cried after the lad and said, Is not the arrow beyond thee? And Jonathan cried after the lad, Make speed, haste, stay not. And Jonathan's lad gathered up the arrows and came to his master. But the lad knew not anything, only Jonathan and David knew the matter. And Jonathan gave his artillery unto the lad, and said unto him, Go, carry them to the city. And as soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of a place toward the south, and fell on his face to the ground, and bowed himself 3 times, and they kissed one another, and wept, one with another, until David exceeded. And Jonathan said to David, Go in peace, for as much as we have sworn both of us in the name of the Lord, saying, The Lord be between me and thee, and between my seed and thy seed forever. And he arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city. So it's all set up. We read in the last video the setup. First of all, we have the setup. Ask Saul. David's not at the feast. When Saul asks about him, we say he had to go to his father's house. Saul gets angry. It just starts ranting about how he was trying to kill David and even tries to kill his own son. So Jonathan goes out and they do their prepared sign. He shoots his arrows as if shooting at a target. And as the young man is collecting the arrows, he says, Haven't the arrows gone a little farther than that? And by that, David knows what's going on. Then the young man, the lad, picks the arrows, brings them back to Jonathan. Jonathan sends them back to the city so that David can come out of hiding and they can say their farewells. It's actually a very touching story of great friendship. That David and Jonathan were such good friends. They loved each other so much that David was willing to defy his father to help David. Not Jonathan, sorry. That Jonathan was willing to defy his father to help David. It's a very touching story of friendship. And I'm going to leave it there for now. And we will pick it up in the next chapter.